And I'm so angry. Hello everyone and welcome to the 29th episode of the Blind Pinterest Challenge, the series where I recreate different crafts and DIY projects from Pinterest without any instructions because I'm just a master at DIY and crafts, said no one. Ever. Some people might have said that. I have never said it before. And I've never heard anyone say it before, so I don't think anyone's said it before. But sometimes I like to think I am. Okay, so the first craft project that I want to try in today's episode is this yarn wall art. And it looks quite straightforward. It looks like they've just got some sort of frame and then suspended a little bit of yarn from it. And I think it looks quite interesting. I think they might have potentially done something with the frame and kind of like decoupaged it. Unless they've already bought the frame like that. I'm not sure, but I think I can do that. Got a little hint of textiles, but nothing too crazy, so I should be fine. So this one's given me a few instructions on how to make it, but I think I would have kind of figured it out anyway. And it's basically a bunch of plastic cups with some fairy lights inside. And it looks very unusual and very interesting. It looks as if they've stapled their cups together, which I don't think I'll be doing, because I think that'll be a mess. But I think that looks fun, and I'll give that one a go. Can't see anything going wrong with that. It also could, we don't know. Now, I'm not sure whether this one would be considered a Christmas craft project, but I don't think it is, and if it is a Christmas craft project, it's quite a sophisticated Christmas craft project. But it's this like little gnome thing, and I just think it's absolutely adorable. Obviously it's made from wood and like a bit of fluff or something, but I think I can do that, and I really like them. I think they're so cool, so I'm going to try that one as well. And I think the final craft that I'm going to try in today's episode are these glow-in-the-dark tiles, and I assume these are meant for like outside, and I think it's pretty straightforward. Just get some pavement blocks, some glow-in-the-dark, possibly pigment or paint, and then create like a nice pattern on them. I'm not sure whether these are going to work particularly well. Glow pigment, it's like hit and miss. Some glow pigments are really good and some glow pigments are just absolutely shite. If I get the same results as that and that's not photoshopped, I'll be very pleased, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I've been lied to. Do I want to make anything else? I don't think I do. Don't know though, there's a lot of crafts I haven't done yet on Pinterest. No, because if I end up doing anything else, I'll end up running out of money, and I'm pretty skint. So I think that's a decent bunch of little craft ideas for today's episode. Obviously I need a few weeks to get my shit together and figure out what I'm doing, but I can't foresee any problems. I think it's actually going to be a pretty decent episode. Don't think I'm going to have any fails today. Makes a change. Okay, I'm finally back, and I thought we would start off with something I haven't even touched yet, and it's going to be the weird kind of Christmas light ball thing. So I've got some plastic cups, I've got some Christmas lights, and I guess we're just going to try and do this. Okay, so it looks like they've put a hole in the top of their cups just for the light to fit through. Does the light go out or in? To the left, to the right. It goes into the cup, doesn't it? It goes that way. Right. So I'm thinking to put the hole in my cup, I can just use my hot glue gun and just kind of melt it. I'm going to try and hot glue this together, but it might melt the cups, obviously because it's hot glue. So I might end up having to use a stapler, and that'll just look a mess, but we'll see, we will see. I've seen people do this, and they just do that and it just goes straight through the cup. That doesn't work. Right, great, we're off to a fantastic start. I need a different tool to put holes in the top. I think a drill might be the best option. Have I got a decent sized drill bit? I think that might work. Maybe it needs to be a bit bigger. Alright, let's see if this one's better. I could just put it like that and then glue. I don't know how far the light went into this, because if I get this green bit in, then I won't need to glue the lights into it. I just cut the top part like that. Then I should be able... Oh my god, this is the first step and it's already causing us so much chew. I think because my cups, the plastic on them, are just like really thick and hard. There we go. Right, that's what I want. It took me nearly 10 minutes just to do one cup. But I know what I'm doing now, so that's good. The issue with something like this as well is you really need to know how many cups you're gonna need. I'm thinking I might staple them, you know. I think stapling them might be easier. I think a glue gun's just gonna be too messy and too much of a faff. Or will it? Yeah, it will. It will. But how the hell did they staple it? My stapler doesn't reach that far. I don't think I'm going to use a stapler. I think I've changed my mind again. Let me see how many cups I'm going to need to make one round circle. Their cups are different to mine. Mine's going to be absolutely ginormous. I didn't buy any other plastic cups either because I thought these would work, but I don't. Because the problem is, if I go all the way around, I'm going to need about 1 million cups. As you can tell, I haven't trialed this before I sat down to record this video, which is why I'm having so many issues. Right, I'll do several of these cups and cut the tops of them so I can put the light in, and then we'll figure out the sticking part and see what's going to happen with that. And I'm only going to do a few because I have a feeling this isn't going to work. Because with theirs, they've used quite like short, fat, stubby kind of cups. And it's easier to kind of get that fanning effect. Whereas my cups, they're very long, slim and slender. A little bit like me.
That's funny, tell another one.
And it just doesn't work. They don't automatically go around. But I'm going to try and glue these together and see if I can get the same effect. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Because I didn't want to buy any plastic cups just for this. And I have mountains of these cups in the studio. Don't ask me why. But I should have really trialed it before I sat down and did it. But in my mind, the cups were never an issue. Like, nothing was an issue, actually. Everything was supposed to work fine. I don't think it's melting the cup, so that's good. This actually might work, you know. I think we're going to get something similar to theirs. And yes, I know there's going to be a lot of hot glue shown, but it's just going to have to be one of those things. It's transparent, so it'll just match the cups anyway, so it's fine. I am absolutely shocked this hot glue isn't melting the cups. Very, very shocked. It's my shocked face. That's how shocked I am. And when I say I have mountains of these plastic cups, I'm not lying. I have boxes and boxes full of them. Same with straws and just other miscellaneous shit that I don't need. The issue I'm going to have though is once I've built this up, how am I going to get the lights in? I'm just wondering, is theirs a full circle or is theirs a half circle? I think theirs might be a half circle. So now if I just like kind of mount these on top of here and build it up into a dome. Here's me worrying about stuff and I just didn't need to. Didn't need to worry at all. And the thing is, as you start adding the layers, it starts to become a little stronger and a little bit more stable. Do you ever sometimes think as well, when you're doing like a craft project and stuff, especially if you've seen a craft project from someone else, do you ever wonder who thought of that? Like, what was going through their mind when they decided to make that? I'm not saying that just about this, I'm just saying it about everything. Not just bad things, good things as well. I wonder how people like just sat there and came up with that idea. It's a mystery. I had no idea this was going to be as complicated as it is. I know it doesn't look complicated, just sticking some plastic cups together, but it's actually quite tricky. Or the way I'm doing it's quite tricky. I'm sure other people would find it very easy. That's one thing I would really enjoy winning if I was ever on a game show. You know when people win like a life supply of a certain object? I would love to win a life supply of glue sticks because I just go through so many. Right, I think that'll be my final cup because I've run out of drilled cups and I'm not doing any more. Okay, I think that's looking fun. This could easily be a hat. I know I'm kind of obsessed with hats, but like how cool of a hat would that be? It would be amazing. Right, so now I need to thread these lights through. Right, I've got a lot of excess lights, so if I just kind of like shove them into there, into that gap, that'll be fine. Okay, so it's just time to plug it in, see if this has all been worthwhile, but we have expectation and reality. I think I'll hit the lights because that looks absolutely awful. I hope this looks better when the lights are out. It doesn't look good, does it? It just looks ugly. I think my cups are too long. I think my cups are way too long. Look at the state of that. It literally looks like a pile of just rubbish. It looks like a pile of rubbish that someone just thrown some lights on. Like, oh, what a mess. What a hideous idea. And also, I will say, these lights get warm, and obviously this is made of plastic. I don't know whether this is like a fire hazard or not. It feels like a fire hazard. I wouldn't recommend making this. A, because it's a crap idea, and 2, because it's dangerous. I'm unplugging it. Scaring us. But how much did this big pile of crap cost us? Well, I only had to buy the Christmas lights, and that cost me £9.99. And to be fair, that's £9.99 too much. I wouldn't pay anything for this. If someone offered me this for free, I'd be like, no thanks. I'm okay, I'm good. But I've tried it, so you don't have to. Even if you got the right cups, I think it's still a crap idea. I really do. I don't like it. And it's a waste of plastic. Okay, so I think we'll move on to the little wooden gnome next. And for the body of of the gnome, I had an amazing idea and I bought a doorstop. A wooden doorstop is the perfect shape for something like this. It does look a bit rough in some areas because it had like all this fancy stuff on it, which I had to take off, like anti-slip mats and stuff. So if it looks a bit dodgy, this doorstop, that's why. But it's fine, it's gonna get painted over. So I just prepped the doorstop ready for painting with a bit of masking tape, just so I'd get some nice edges. I then painted it with a green acrylic paint and peeled the masking tape off while it was still wet, because I think that's something you're supposed to do. I don't think you're supposed to let the paint dry. The next day it was looking a little bit like this, and I think it's looking pretty good. And now it's just time to make a fluffy beard, some eyebrows, and a little mustache. And I bought this online, and can you believe this has actually been sold as a furry rug, a miniature furry rug, but it's gonna work great for this, so I'll take it. So I just cut a big chunk of this fluff off to create the beard and hot glued that to the doorstop. I also hot glued 2 little bits of fluff for the mustache. I then bought these little wooden beads online, and these will be perfect for the nose. So I just hot glued the little wooden bead into the center and then added some extra little fluff for the eyebrows. So we have expectation and reality, and I don't think mine looks too bad. I don't think it looks as nice as theirs. I think mine just looks a little bit rougher than theirs. Obviously, if you look at the back, it's completely skew-iff and dodgy, but we don't look at that bit, we look at this bit. As a little gnome on its own, it's fine, but when you compare it to theirs, that's when it starts to kind of fall apart a bit. Because if you look at like the eyebrows and the mustache, I don't know, I think I've stuck them a bit wrong. Something's happened there. I'm not too pleased with it. But the beard and the rest of it, don't think it looks that bad. And this little wooden gnome cost me £9.59, which I don't think is too bad, but I also don't think it's fantastic. I think looking at it, I would expect this to cost me about £3 to make. So it's a little over budget, but I've done it and I think I've done an okay job. So moving on to the glow-in-the-dark tile. I just bought this huge concrete block from the DIY shop. I'm not going to mention which DIY store. I don't want to give them any free publicity, but I'm sure you all know which one I went to. But I bought this concrete tile and it weighs an absolute ton. And I was thinking, when it comes to glow-in-the-dark pigment, I had a few options. I was thinking about doing a stencil and then glow-in-the-dark spray paint, or I was thinking about using normal glow-in-the-dark paint and paint it on. The issue with glow-in-the-dark paint and glow-in-the-dark spray paint is the glow effect can be really kind of diluted and shitty, so I came up with a different idea and I decided to hand paint some sort of design onto this tile with PVA glue. And once that was done and the glue was still wet, I used this raw glow-in-the-dark pigment, which I think is going to produce a far better glow-in-the-dark effect than any paint would. So I just emptied an absolute shit ton of this glow-in-the-dark pigment all over the glue and all over the tile, and then brushed that in with a paintbrush just to make sure as much of this pigment is going to stick to the glue as it possibly can. And then I just had to wait for that to dry. The next day I just brushed all the excess pigment off, and then because there was still quite a lot of pigment left on here that wasn't attached to the glue, I used a damp paper towel and just kind of got rid of the excess that was sitting on top of this tile. I then took it outside and sprayed it down with a good thick layer of glossy varnish just to seal everything in, all the pigment, stop it all flaking off. So we have expectation and reality. Oh wait, no, hang on, this isn't right. Turn the lights out. Ah, much better. And as you can see, it has actually glowed in the dark, and it glows in the dark quite well. I was actually really shocked at the results. Obviously this had been sat in the sun all day, and then I took it into a dark room. So this glow is obviously very intense and very bright, and you're gonna get that glow for maybe an hour tops, and then over time it's going to dim down and the pigment's going to need to recharge. So that's not going to be it forever. You're not going to see that all through the night. But it still looks really good. To be fair, I'm honestly shocked that the pigment payoff was as good as it is, because I wasn't expecting it to. I thought it was going to be way worse than this. Obviously my design is a lot different to theirs because I hand painted it on, and their design was incredibly intricate. I'm assuming they've used a stencil. And unfortunately, up close with mine, you can see that some of the PVA, when it's mixed with the pigment, it started to crack a little bit, but I kind of don't mind mine. I kind of like the rustic, crackled, almost Aztec vibe that mine's given. I think theirs is looking very neat and petite and ready to eat, and mine's looking a bit more kind of down to earth and honest. It'll tell you if your haircut looks bad. It'll tell you if your dress looks bad, because mine's honest. Theirs is pretentious and fake. So my tile cost me £15 and 5 pence, which I don't think's too bad. Obviously I could have made more if I wanted to, but I used quite a lot of pigment, so to make more of them it would obviously cost you more money. I'll have to find a place outside for it, but I'm gonna put it down anyway because I'm getting a dead arm. Right, let's move on to the final project. So for this floral yarn frame, I obviously started by buying a frame, and I just bought this lovely little white frame, which I think will work fine. And in order to get the floral effect, I decided to decoupage this frame with some floral napkins. And obviously it was looking pretty rough and pretty messy, but I'm gonna tidy that up, don't worry. So I got rid of all the excess off camera, and I've got it here. It's fully dry. I don't think it looks too bad. It's not as chunky as their frame. It's a very thin frame. It's also a lot more floral than theirs. And the back of this looks absolutely horrendous, but that faces the wall, and you're not going to see that, so I'm not going to show you it. But trust me, it looks terrible. Right, so they've attached some orange and grey yarn. I've got some orange, I've got some grey, and they've done it in like a very cascadey way. I'm just thinking the best way to do this would be to tie the yarn onto here first and then cut it. That makes way more sense than measuring each strand and cutting each one bit by bit, which is what I was going to do, believe it or not. But then my brain finally kicked in and said, hang on a second, that's a stupid way to do it. Cut it at the end, that makes sense. It's nice that my brain decides to perk up. It very, very rarely happens. Right, so we'll go for grey in the middle first. And I did try and buy exactly the same colour of yarn as what they did. I'm assuming they've just tied it into a knot. Maybe do it on the back actually. Oh, you're going to see the back. Pretend you can't see the back. This is going to take a long time as well, isn't it? That's the thing when you see crafts online. You're like, oh, that looks sweet and nice, and I bet that's super easy and won't take very long. But then you actually sit down to do it and you're like, oh, hang on a second. This is going to take me ages. But that's fine. We put effort in with crafts. Even though I know a lot of people think that I don't end up putting a lot of effort in with my crafts. Someone actually left a comment the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, asking us if I actually enjoyed crafts. And I was like, yes I do. It's just I've got a lot going on in my life, so I don't have a lot of spare time to make my crafts. But I do enjoy crafting, otherwise I wouldn't do it. I think it's because people are so used to seeing kind of like upbeat, happy tutorials and like, la la, I just do this and just take a little snip here, tie a beautiful little knot here, and hey presto, we have a gorgeous floral frame. And I'm not like that. I can't be like that. I take the piss out of people who are like that. But if you are one of those people who have like the genuine kind of loveliness about you, then don't change either, because I'm taking the piss. You know, you do you. And I'm not taking the piss, it's just an observation. Just a very critical observation. I've done this the wrong way. It's because I've been busy talking. Oh, have I done it the wrong way? Oh, actually theirs does go behind the frame. Oh no, I've done it the right way. Oh, good. That was a happy accident. I am actually as well, I don't know whether you can tell, I'm suffering from an injury today. My arm is really hurting. Oh, so obviously you wouldn't be able to tell because you can't see inside my arm. That'd be a bit weird if you could. But I don't know what I've done to I think it's this arm. Is it this arm? It's actually both arms. I think I must have strained them. And there's 3 reasons why my arms could be hurting. So 1, I've been spending too much time in the gym. So it's not going to be that. 2, I've slept on it wrong, which is definitely a possibility. But the 3rd, most weird kind of reason why my arms are hurting, and I think this is the reason why my arms are hurting, is because I've been mixing gravy very vigorously. And I know that's quite a strange thing to say, and a very strange sentence to say, but I do make gravy at work, and I think I've just got a bit too crazy and mixed the gravy a bit too hard. Proper went in it with the whisk, and yeah, I've got a gravy whisking related injury. And yes, I do make gravy at work from scratch. I add the powder into the water and mix it all by myself.
I have been so proud of you.
Very complicated stuff, I know, and people just can't believe that I'm capable of making gravy, but I do. Make it all the time, make curry and all sorts. Just powder and water. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you've ever had a gravy-related injury. I feel like the sentence was going to continue there to, you know, when you get them adverts for like lawyers, and it's on like the radio and be like, have you ever had a gravy-related injury? Call 0800 654 212. You could be claiming millions. Hello, yes, I mix gravy too much. I'm due compensation. I'm such an ass sometimes. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's a true story though. That's the most interesting thing that's happened to me all week. I hurt my arm mixing gravy. Now, if that doesn't tell you how boring my life is, I don't know what will. Anyway, let's speed through all of this yarn tie-in, and then we'll get to the cutting. Okay, well that took way longer than I thought it was going to take. I've been doing this for well over an hour, and as I was doing it, I realised not necessarily that I've made a mistake, but I think they've done it a different way than I've done it. I think they might have doubled their yarn up like that, tied it off here, and then just let it hang down, because theirs looks a lot fuller than mine does, because mine's just a single strand of yarn. And I realised that about halfway through, and I wasn't going to start again. But never mind, it's fine. So now I just need to cut this down. Thing is, I don't want to ruin this. I really don't want to ruin this. It took me so long. Right, I think I'm going to stop before I really screw this up. So we have expectation and reality. Mine doesn't look as good. It doesn't look as good at all. It took so long to make this, and it doesn't look very good. And I'm so angry. It looks awful. It looks worse than I thought it was going to look, actually. That's the bad thing, is when you expect something to look quite nice, and you've spent a long time on it, and then you actually finish it, and you're like, oh no, what have I done? I'll tell you where I've gone wrong with this. My frame's a square, and theirs is a rectangle. Their frame's chunkier than mine. My cutting isn't right, and their yarn is a lot thicker, using the technique that I said before. Everything else I got right. So basically, I got the colours right, and I got the overall kind of feeling of it. Mine just looks a bit bare and a bit scratty. Mine's a very scratty version of theirs. Oh well, whatever. I'm so upset, you have no idea. So this cost me about £13 to make. So, not bad. That's fine, I suppose. I don't know whether I'm being really critical on myself. Do I like it? I'm trying to convince myself that I like it. I can see it in the viewfinder. I don't like it. It's just not as nice as theirs, and I'm so upset with myself. Well, that's just about does it for today's episode of the Blind Pinterest Challenge. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And let me know down in the comments, would you try any of these crafts? And would you do a better job than I did? I'm sure you would. In fact, I know you would. I don't think I've done a very good job at all today. I think I'm just a bit hard on myself. I don't think I've done too bad, actually. I might just be a little bit hormonal. I have to take a pregnancy test, see what's wrong with us.